in my face, aren't they? They don't have to look at me in the morning.
What's wrong with your face? See, somebody behind already saying it's a lovely face. What's wrong with your face?
Well, it's 10 times bigger than it should be. I've always been very skinny, and suddenly I've sort of developed jowls and bags that Michael Aspel would die for.
You can answer the letter from Michael Aspel for that one. So you've put on weight, and that's
Yes.
accentuated the problem.
Yes, my neck's disappeared into my shoulders, and the top lip I had has disappeared inside the mouth. It's just a mess now.
What about your nose?
No, my nose, I'm not too happy. I did have that sorted.
I'm not... Oh, have you?
Yes, I have to say, way back in 1970.
What was wrong with it?
It had a hook, a bump.
Mm-hmm. So you
I
had
looked a bit like Fagin.
So you had some plastic surgery. I'm sure you did.
Yes,
look
I
like Fagin.
did. I did.
Anyway, so what about your eyes?
Well, my eyes are non-existent really now that I've got all this flesh, but they are there. They are there.
But you've got lovely greeny blue eyes.
Ah, that's because your makeup artist done a wonderful.
She can't change the colour of your eyes. Come on, don't be silly. She can't. What about your hair?
It's wet at the moment. Well, the hair's just something you sort of have to hide the face, really, isn't it?
What is ugly? Has anyone told you you're ugly?
Not exactly ugly, but they've made innuendos.
Like what?
Why don't you wear a paper bag over your head? And you're not only ugly, you're fat. And I used to be called teeth and hair because I had 2 very large teeth, which a very kind dentist removed for me, also in the 70s.
So what sort of people have said those sort of things to you?
Friends, close friends, and acquaintances. I mean, some of it was obviously in a joking way, but it hits hard when you feel like that anyway, and someone, like my kids, call me Ma Chubbs and Ma Wobble. And, you know, it's can be a bit disconcerting if you're conscious of yourself.
You take it all on the chin, though, don't you? You're
yeah.
still smiling about it. And I have to say that I do think, very, very sincerely, that it's very, very courageous of you, and several other people will meet this morning, to come and talk about the size.
Well, the thing is, if you don't sort of give out something of yourself, you might just as well dig a hole. And I reckon I'm going to be around for another 20 years, and obviously there comes a point where you think, well, I'm ugly, there's nothing I can do about it.
Do you think she's ugly?
No, not at all. I think people are beginning to lose their sense of humour now. You have to have a sense of humour about everything in life, and people are so obsessed with looking perfect, and the perfect person doesn't exist anyway.
What do you think about your own looks?
I don't care. I know I'm not glamorous, but I don't really care. Who wants to be, walk along all skinny and everything? I'd rather eat chocolate cake at night, darling.
Yeah. Now, you work for an agency which people will have heard of called the Ugly Agency.
The Ugly Agency, that's
which specialises in people who are, well, let's face it, ugly, yeah?
Oh, dare you.
Or not. That's the title of the agency. Come on, Tracy. There are people who are not conventionally
Yeah, that's right, but
beautiful.
we've got a lot of character and we've got a lot of personality, and who cares what other people think? You're not on this planet enough to worry about what other people think. And you say they're close friends, well, you should deck them one, because get rid of them.
Because they're close friends, they're giving me an honest feelings.
No, but an honest opinion is not insulting like that. They shouldn't insult.
Where do the rules come from? Who decides these rules? The media? I think the media create an impossible
Do you think she's got anything to worry about?
I think you've got I think your face is lovely. When I look at you, I see kindness. That's what I see, and friendliness.
And that's what's more important, what's inside, isn't it?
I agree with you, yes. It's
That's
what's
what I
inside
see.
that's important.
What do you think?
Well, I can sympathise with her because I feel exactly how she feels. But I think it's changed my personality a lot because I don't want to do certain things. I don't want to go certain places. I don't want to go for jobs that I could probably get because they're in the media or cosmetic companies or something that you're on show and that there are other glamorous people there. I feel that you're looked down upon if you go into certain hairdressers, beauty salons. I don't want to meet with my husband's family because I think they're going to insult my looks and
What's
tell
wrong with
him.
your looks?
Well, first of all, I broke my nose many years ago, so I've really got a thing about my nose. I'd like to have it fixed. I'd like to have the bump taken out of it. I've got sandy eyelashes, sandy eyebrows. I feel I look like a pig without makeup. I can't go out without makeup. It's turned me into an aggressive person. If people are looking at me, I assume they're looking at me because I look ugly.
One person's looking at you now as your partner. Sitting
My
alongside
husband,
you.
yeah.
Or your husband. Well, you don't think this?
I don't know.
Oh, you can't think that, otherwise you wouldn't have married her.
That's right, yes.
How do you account for this?
I don't know. I mean, I can't understand it. I like her without makeup.
I can't bear myself without makeup. I can't stand it.
Does it not do anything to help your condition, and I'm going to call it a condition, for want of a better word, to know that he can't see, he doesn't agree with you at all? He thinks you're absolutely lovely?
No. No, not at all.
John, what's going on here? Are these people, I mean, there'll be a lot of people watching our show saying they're neurotic. They will. I'll be blunt. They'll say they're neurotic. There's nothing wrong with them. They're paranoid.
Absolutely, people will say that, of course.
They would. It's cruel, maybe, but that's what they'll be saying. What is going on here?
I think that how we feel about the way that we look ranges from the vague disquiet that we experience when teenagers to an unshakable belief, which we've had an example of there, that our body or a part of our body, even sometimes the way that we smell, is abhorrent to others.
Is it a syndrome? Is there a medical condition?
Yes, there is. There's a psychiatric condition. It used to be called dysmorphophobia. It's been changed now. The naming has been changed. It's now called body dysmorph disorder.
Thanks for saying that. I could never manage that.
I'm sure you could.
There, it's in the medical dictionary. So what does it actually mean?
It means that you have an unshakable belief that a part of your body is grotesque and offensive to other people. And that includes smell. Some people are convinced that they smell from their armpits, or they have halitosis, or from their feet.
But why do you have this belief? And when in fact the reality is quite different. When anyone, I mean, apart from the ridiculous remarks and unkind remarks that we heard about at the beginning, that any rational human being, any sensible human being would say to Marion, or our friend Eilidh on the front there, would say, there's nothing wrong with you, you're perfectly ordinary.
I have been told in the past, I have had comments passed to me, and, you know, when I've been in relationships, and I've taken it on board, and I've carried it forward, you know, and I've put all these things together, and there were things that I felt about myself anyway, so it's added to it.
So how did she arrive at this condition? That's what I'm saying. Thank you for that contribution.
We tend to look for things that support our beliefs about ourselves. Yeah. So if, for example, I believed that I had distorted or disfigured hips, yeah, I may well develop a peculiar walk to try and disguise them. Because of my peculiar walk, people may look at me, and I will say, you see, I was right, I've got distorted hips, so I'll develop an even more peculiar walk. If I believe that I have a very large nose, and I have conversations with many people, I'll look for the one thing that somebody may say to support my belief about myself,
so
and I'll abstract that and take it as a proof.
Bottom line, we're talking about a lack of confidence.
Yes.
A low self-esteem, for some reason or other,
Indeed.
which has a basis in fact.
Not always.
Not
no.
always.
Not always.
Not always.
No.
Okay. Who else is unhappy with the way they look? Hands up.
Can I just
Yeah.
say that I thought it was interesting that you couldn't believe that she didn't like herself, and yet you don't need to dislike yourself either.
I can't believe why she
Well,
disliked
exactly.
herself.
So you two have the same thing, and yet you must see a mirror of yourselves, and yet why don't you realise? I mean,
Yeah, but
I
we've
understand
all been
it's a
through different
problem.
experiences in our life. I mean, I used to do amateur dramatics and never, ever, ever got the heroine. I always got the character
they're
part,
boring
the fat
anyway.
old lady with...
I mean, I don't know how you could have done anything like that. I would never, ever be able to do anything
Well, I
like that,
had
ever.
to. It was sort of to compensate for the fact that I was sort of a little bit ill. I used to sort of try and... I mean, when I was much younger, I was terribly shy and would hide away all the time. I would never have a conversation without going like that.
You put your hand across your mouth
No,
and...
yeah, to hide the bits I
Yeah.
hated. Then I had the nose done and the teeth removed, which were perfectly healthy teeth, I have to say, but
But she
bless
didn't
the
like them.
dentist that did it. But I went from being extremely skinny and extremely gawky to totally the
There's
opposite.
too much to change. You had your hand up as well. Why are you unhappy?
Well, I don't like my looks totally. I mean, my hair's all over the place. I'm short. My eyes always look half closed, I've been told. And
Who's told you that? I'm looking at your eyes now, they're wide open.
Well, a lot of people have told me, even my mum has told me that I always look half asleep. And I don't like my nose that's always turned up at the end. I just don't like myself at all.
Do you like yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
great.
There's no reason why you shouldn't.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
can't even get a
confidence thing.
job. I think you've got to be... Oh, you're more likely to get a job if you're thin and blonde. I can't get a job. I've been trying for over 1 year.
What do we think about...
can't get anywhere.
Our friend Marion said that she took part in amateur dramatics. What do you think about... And she only got she never got the romantic lead. What do we think about the way I resist the word ugly, but I won't, because that's what we're doing. Ugly people, or people who are not conventionally beautiful, are portrayed, and I mean, it's a very good point, that. You don't often see, do you, in plays or on films, people who are less than perfect playing romantic leads, do you?
No, you don't.
Yeah. And there's this spot on the Chris Evans show now. Yeah.
Yeah, that thoroughly tacky little programme.
Well, that's your point of view. I've never actually seen it, but
Well,
it's called
you've done well. It's,
TFI Friday, right?
That's right, yeah.
And they have a spot where they have ugly...
Well, yeah, it's called I'm an Ugly Bloke.
Yeah.
And what they do, it's a bit like a freak show. In the old days, they used to poke sticks at ugly people. Now they poke cameras.
Well, you see, I suppose what... I'm not here to hold... You know, don't hold any brief for Chris Evans or anybody else, but what they might argue is that by exposing that, it's a bit like Johnny Spate and Alf Garnett, really, by exposing Alf Garnett as a racist, they make people more tolerant of people generally, and less kindly looking less kindly towards racists. Maybe that's what they're doing. Is it harder for men, you think? I mean, he's happy with his appearance. Some men would say, and it's interesting, men don't come on this programme to talk about these things with half as willingly as women. Is it harder for men?
I suppose traditionally the role of the male is supposed to be the stronger of the two sexes, and evidently, and that is the case. And most men are unwilling to admit any form of weakness whatsoever.
Yeah.
And this can be seen as a weakness, admitting that you're less than perfect, as you've already mentioned.
Do you see, John, as many men as women complaining of this problem, or do you hear about as many men?
I think most of the research would indicate that if men present with a concern about their appearance, they get referred for psychiatric care. If women regularly present with concern about their appearance, they get referred for plastic surgery.
Now, how do you account for that?
It's gender role, it's gender stereotyping.
Yeah, because in your own profession?
Yes.
Yeah, but men have just as big a problem as women. And the problem is shared equally.
Yeah, it's difficult to say specifically what the gender breakdown of the disorder is. It's because of the different referral rates. You can't be specific about.
You see, I suspect men do have just as big a problem, because men would argue that women look towards for a handsome guy. I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh well, it's the character that counts, but at the end of the day, for a lot of people, it isn't the character that counts.
I mean, there's an age differential, John, is there not? I mean, when you get past a certain age, like you and myself, for example, we can become craggy with immunity, and that's okay. A woman still needs to maintain some kind of attractiveness, or perceives herself as needing to maintain some kind of attractiveness.
You're going to say, Ali?
That's true. You don't call men ugly. Men seem to be called rugged, and words like this. Women are the ones that are called ugly. And if you think of the word ugly in itself, it's a terrible word.
It's an awful word.
We say ugly wars, ugly crimes, ugly murders. We use that word, and then you say to somebody, you're ugly. So you're putting that person with all those terrible things. So the person obviously feels far worse. Yes. But I don't feel there are any sort of ugly men as such.
Do you think, let me be controversial just for a moment, and provocative. Is vanity something to do with this problem?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, because I don't have any fear of actually growing old. I don't want to get rid of wrinkles, or, there are women that they're very beautiful and they want to get rid of wrinkles. It's not that thing. It's more involved than that. I want to be able to go and do the things I know that somewhere inside me I'm capable of doing, but I just can't.
But you see, you've come on this television programme today and sat here in front of 60, 70 people talking to 2 million people at home about something that most people find very difficult to talk about in the confines of John or Leslie's surgery.
Because I've got to make some stand at some stage. I happen to be at home from work now. It took me a lot to come here this morning. If I'd have had to come up here last night, I was offered to be put up in a hotel. I believe that this morning nothing would have got me here. I'm shaking now. Coming up on the train, I feel I'm going very red because I'm...
You're not?
Well, I feel that I am. Coming up on the train, just as we got off the train, I told my husband I was shaking, my hands were shaking, my stomach was going, my heart was beating, just to come here. But you've got to, like this lady here, you've got to stop and somehow draw the line and say, no, enough is enough. I've got to stop this. And it was one way of trying to do something.
Do you like yourself as a person?
No. But I feel that the way I feel about my looks is what has made me a horrible person, because I'm aggressive.
You feel like you're a horrible person?
But I think it's to do with the way I look. Because I imagine people are looking at me, I become aggressive. I'm thought to be aloof, I'm thought to be aggressive. My husband can vouch for this. I can actually be somewhere and ask somebody what they're looking at. They're probably, why are they looking at me?
Do you judge other people by how they look, whether you like them or not?
Yes.
Right.
I never
So you feel that they do that to you?
Yes.
Don't you feel that they see more than that? Don't you feel they see you as a person?
I'm going to have to break this up, I regret to say, because it's a fascinating conversation, but as you know, we have to go to a commercial break, otherwise we get in terrible bother. But it really is fascinating. We'll pursue it in just a couple of ticks, and we'll also be talking to Nicole, who's over here. What have I walked away from her for? Nicole's over here, one of a number of people we've been chatting to. She's just 18 years old, already convinced that she's ugly. She says she is. What can she do, what can anyone do to overcome their anxiety? In a couple of minutes, don't go away.
I've got to have sausage, got to have chips, sausage and 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 chips.
Sarsons from Cross and Blackwell. Now there's a thought.
Salmon and broke Ollie, Kemp and Ellie.
Back to bed.
Tortellone with tomato
and mascarpone cheese.
There's a store that offers you an amazing choice in quality frozen food. You've guessed it.
Madagascar.
Vanilla ice cream. Phew, if I eat all that, I'll have to go to bed.
Iceland, we're full of surprises.
Anxiety? Anxiety's getting my waist back after having twins. Not getting rid of a few grey hairs. Clairol's loving care is gentle. There's no ammonia or peroxide. It's not forever. It washes out in about 8 shampoos. You get your own beautiful colour back, minus the grey. 6 kids, 2 dogs, 3 agents. That'll rattle your nerves. Loving care? It's just a little box of hair colour. Loving care from Clairol. You have nothing to lose but the grey. And for longer-lasting grey coverage, try Lasting Colour by Loving Care.
When you look in Auto Trader, you get to see pictures of the cars on offer and the best choice in your area.
Auto Trader.
Now with odor neutralizers, Haze helps tackle bad smells. New Haze 2-in-1 clears away the too.
Introducing the welcoming fragrance of new vanilla Mr. Sheen, as seen on the television.
New Haze 2-in-1 Freshen Up goes on freshening week after week, removing bad odors and adding fresh fragrance. Freshen up to 8 weeks.
My mum says
Unigate milkmen are great.
I get up earlier than anyone in the whole wide world. It's magic, because all you have to do is open the front door and the milk's always there. That makes everyone happy.
It's what being a Unigate milkman's all about.
She says. And they don't get cross, even when it's raining and really cold. My mum likes our milkman lots and lots. He's my dad.
Your Unigate milkman, the guy you can rely on.
Are you a penny pincher? Is your partner a Scrooge? Maybe you try to save money while your partner spends all your hard-earned cash. Do you cut out cash-saving coupons and refuse to pay the full price for anything? Maybe your friends make fun of your stingy scheme, but you think you're just being careful with your money. Maybe you find penny pinchers a real pain. Well, whatever your story or your view, give us a call now. 0891 700 145. That's 0891 700 145. Thank you very much, welcome back. We are, as you can see, in Norwich this morning. We're talking to people who are not happy with the way they look. You're one of them, Nicole.
Yep.
You're just 18 years old.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Just ugly. Just look horrible all the time, no matter what I do.
Whenever you look in the mirror, you think, I'm horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've said it to so many people this morning. You don't look horrible to me. Is there anything in particular you're not happy with about your face?
Just my face, my chin is just horrible, my teeth are horrible. I've got no eyes, they're just like sunk right into my head. I just hate everything about myself.
What have you done about it?
Well, I spend all my money on any beauty product. Yeah, if it says on the bottle, if it was £1,000 and it said
I'll change your face completely. I'd buy it.
Have you got £1,000?
I wish I
You've
did.
you've done a makeover, I gather. You had a makeover
Yeah.
done. And you had some photographs taken. I
Yeah.
think we can see them in a couple of takes, actually. There you are. Now, you see, you could be on the front cover of a magazine looking like that.
No.
I'm not making this up. That, that is, you look like a model.
No, no way. Doesn't matter how many people tell you that you're pretty or gorgeous. It only ever takes one person to turn around and say to you, God, you look awful, and then that's it then.
Young man on the end, you're a hairdresser, you were telling me earlier.
Yeah, can
What
I
do you
just
think about
ask, is this your boyfriend sitting next to you? Yeah. How, I mean, if you obviously think you're ugly, I mean, obviously your boyfriend doesn't think you're ugly. How, I mean, I feel that it's very much a confidence thing, and it's the confidence that attracts other people. You give off this image that you do like yourself, and other people will like you therefore. Obviously, you gave off some sort of impression to your boyfriend. How do you feel about that? I mean...
Are you happy with the way she looks?
Yeah, I am.
You wouldn't be with her otherwise, would you?
No.
No. Do you understand her anxiety, her concern?
Sort of, yeah, but, I mean, just to look at her, you know, I just sort of...
Young lady there, are you unhappy?
Yeah.
Why are you... Let me come around the front of you. Why are you unhappy?
Because people like say that if I got picked on for my eyebrows, because like my dad's Egyptian, so I had big bushy eyebrows set. My mum had to tweeze them and everything.
So you've been teased?
Yeah.
About your eyebrows? Is that her only problem?
They say about her moustache, and boys say that she's ugly. So we get her back at home that she doesn't feel confidence within herself because of what people are saying to her.
You see, there again, I've got to tell you, I'm looking at a very attractive young lady.
But it's when people say things to her, she comes home and says, do you think I'm ugly? Where I always think she's so beautiful. To me.
Let the jealous people win. Because I wasn't jealous of her.
What? I mean, what, Jill?
Well, we all have friends, right? Good friends who we love for whatever reason. Why do we love them? We love them because they've got understanding personalities, because they love us. Looks don't come into it. We don't love them because they look good, do we?
You're saying they shouldn't be concerned about that?
You think about your friends.
You see, the trouble is...
So why, if you've got a nice personality, what does it matter about what you look like?
But you see, it does matter to them. I mean,
Yes, it does matter to them, and I know I went through this, but I've overcome it because I realised that people don't love you for your looks. They love you for what you are inside.
Can you compensate in that way?
Well, I have a beauty salon, and it seems to me that in my profession we can do things. We can do things about eyebrows, we can get rid of people's excess hair, but we're not actually talking about you know, that sort of thing, are we?
We're talking about...
The people who have got a problem that we're discussing today, it's not actually their looks that are the problem. They could come into me and they could spend a fortune with me. I could tell them exactly what they could do for themselves and they would do it, but they wouldn't be happy. They may go out of the salon feeling, yes, this is it. She's told me exactly what I can do for myself and I'm going to do it and I'm going to feel better. After 2 or 3 days...
They're back in the same problem.
They're back in the same
What can you do? What can they do for themselves?
There's a common theme running through all this, John. And the common theme is beliefs. And unfortunately, the word belief seems to a lot of people to be set in stone. If you have a belief, it's got to be true. And it's got to remain that way all the way through. But of course it hasn't, because many beliefs have changed through over the years. It wasn't long ago that it was believed that man couldn't fly. Oh, well, women as well. Couldn't fly. But now it's commonplace, OK? So beliefs can be changed. Beliefs are changing all the time.
How do you change the belief? If you've got a belief that you're ugly or you're less than perfect, or how do you change that belief?
You change the belief by initially starting with the self-talk. The fact that a lot of people here believe what they do believe is the result of the common messages that you're getting, not just from other people, but from yourself.
Is it about thinking positive, John?
It isn't just about that. I think there are a variety. There's a constellations of things that characterise people's behaviour if they believe that they're ugly. It's not so much to do with how you look, it's to do with the perception of how other people perceive you look, that you might offend other people. So no matter what you may do about your physical characteristics, you may still feel that you offend other people, especially if you think that you smell. It seems to be characterised by a variety of things. By people's behaviour, for example, they'll avoid environment, circumstances where they may be held up to inspection or ridicule. They may constantly seek reassurance, like the young lady in the audience. It's also, as Leslie says, very much to do about how you think about yourself and how you believe things about yourself and how you think other people think. This becomes very convoluted after a while.
So is it one answer for Marion, who we started with, who said, you know, has got a very bubbly personality and a very happy face and a very warm face and a very pleasant face. Your face says friendship, Marion.
It also says cottage loaf.
Well, but you see, I'm trying my best, and I'm getting nowhere, am I? You see, this is classic. I'm trying to accentuate the positive, and they're not listening.
Absolutely. I think you're fighting against an irrational belief, and that's what characterises the irrationality of it. You can't confuse irrationality by being rational.
So it's no good me saying to Marion or anybody else here, you're absolutely smashing, love, there's nothing wrong with it, because they're not listening.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Yeah.
We just think you're paying lip service.
I'm not
John.
paying lip service.
No, but we would think you were.
But
I mean, I think you're craggy. I would describe you as craggy, and that means attractive. But if you call a woman craggy...
Now I'm hurt, yeah. No, sorry. Go on, tell me what you're going to say.
A lot of people can be really beautiful, but if someone say, oh, you're ugly, that really put you down, and you think that for quite a while. And then you get used to thinking, oh, I've got to put makeup on to try and make me look pretty. I mean, I put makeup on today to try and make me look a bit pretty, but I just don't think I am.
But it's not enough. Let's have a lady who's not been in. Lady up at the back there. It's not enough to go to beauty salons, is it? I mean, we're talking about something much more fundamental
I'm actually
here.
in the beauty industry myself and have been for 11 years, and I have yet to meet a female who is wholly confident about herself every morning that she gets out of bed.
I've yet to meet a man who's wholly confident about himself.
I think that because of the media and this female ideology that all of us feel we have to be superwomen, not just in how we look, but self-confidence also possibly can be caused by feeling academically challenged if you're not capable of doing a job role. It can be divorce, it can be relationship problems. I do think it's quite interesting that we've spent the best part of this programme concentrating on what we consider a visual self-confidence crisis. But I wonder what the psychologist over there would say. How much of this actually stems from our childhood? You know, where do we get this very negative body image and self-image from?
I think again that it's that there's multiple causations for it. I don't think you can pinpoint one particular thing. I think it's easy enough, of course, to highlight specific things. Media attention, the predominance of very slender women being held up as attractive icons obviously plays some part in it.
All contribute, yeah.
Absolutely. But I think that if you talk about people's belief about their looks in a pathological way, when it becomes a disease state, I don't think you can sort of easily sort of specify.
Well,
things.
I've got to say we've suddenly come to the end. Fascinating program. Sorry, Ali, you made a great contribution as everyone else did, and I can only reiterate my sincere thanks to everyone who took part, because as is often the case on this programme, it does take a fair deal of courage to come and talk about these things. Thank you very much indeed to you all. Thank you very much for watching. See you again soon. Bye-bye. Tomorrow, the people who just can't stop playing Cupid for their friends.
Hello, good morning to you. Question, why did 36,000 of you write in after just one show last May? Answer, because this man appeared on the programme. If you missed it, find out why the postman worked overtime in a few minutes.
And also remember Peter Kerry, the globe-trotting 15-year-old who disappeared and then, to his parents' astonishment, surfaced in Malaysia with his dad's credit card. Well, he's done it again. In just a minute, we'll be talking to his bewildered mum and dad. Here's Thursday's menu. He's not talking telephone numbers today. His latest quest is to make the nation laugh. Philip Schofield joins us live at 11:20.
And we've got fetus fashion. If you're getting kicks from the inside, how to get a kick from the outside with new styles for pregnancy. That's coming up at about 10:50.
Californian comic Greg Proops makes it all up as he goes along. The star from Whose Line Is It Anyway is here with us at 11:45.
And wild horses wouldn't drag this guy anywhere. Meet the man whose exploits down at the ranch inspired Robert Redford's new movie. That's horse whisperer Monty Roberts. An extraordinary story at 11 o'clock.
Well, schoolboy Peter Carey's gone missing again 19 months after being led back home from Malaysia. His poor parents have done their best to satisfy his wanderlust. They've been taking him on umpteen foreign holidays.